Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video we'll be talking about the weather, obviously the pattern, a few snowstorm chances, and also very warm temperatures colliding with very cold temperatures. Definitely an interesting pattern. Springtime is always interesting. It could be either very warm, very cold, or a combination of both within a day. So if you guys like these weather videos, consider liking, consider subscribing, obviously once you've watched the video and decided whether or not it's for you. If not, hopefully at least I could provide a bit of useful information as we get into springtime. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, so I want to start off by looking at the total snowfall report map. Obviously, this is the snow from yesterday's system that occurred across the Midwest. Notice we did talk about that line of overproducing snow that occurred mainly across Omaha. Look at this. Lot of snow. It did stretch into northern central Iowa, and it was a very thin strip of snow. Very thin strip, but it was there nonetheless. Okay, moving on. Notice it did drop light to moderate amounts of snow. There were some heavier amounts, 5 inches. Again, nothing to go home about, but not bad into portions of western Michigan. As it got towards the eastern half, Detroit, not really much. 1 to 3 inches seems to be the big deal, or the main amounts. So notice that across the Northeast, we did see snow. And look at that cutoff. That just looks so funny. So we did have some amounts of some heavy snow. You could see 7.2 as of 5:41 p.m. The lighter amounts, 5:40, 1.4. You could see quite a variation. But there were a lot of 3 inches, 1 inch, 6 inches right there, 10 inches. And look at that. Look at the Northeast. I just find this fascinating. I mean, it really shouldn't be that surprising, but look at that. So New York City really didn't pick up on anything as far as I'm concerned. There's snowfall reports. There's nothing. Maybe a tenth or just a little bit of slush. But look, you move into New York, right, which is just west of New York. You already have 2.1 inches. You keep moving, jumping from city to city, and look at that. Morris Township, New Jersey, already had 4.5, and that's what it peaked at, around 4.55. I think there were some amounts that got pretty darn close to 6. Yeah, 5.6. Which is, I think, a bit further upstate. Yeah, that's not even right there, but not a bad event. I mean, I know that it was falling very heavily. It was very wet, slushy. Philadelphia picked up around an inch further to the south, right about nothing. The DC Metro got around at 7/10, 8/10. That's actually more than, honestly, I would expect. With a lot of the rain being a main issue with these locations, didn't see the snow. You can see State College around 3 inches. And now it is moving into Maine. If you were to take a look at the radar, it is a very moisture-laden system. A lot of rain, even some heavier bouts of precipitation right there just off the coast, off into Boston and Cape Cod, Rhode Island. So I want to get this radar working. Notice you do have snow currently across Augusta. That is starting to mix in with a bit of snow to the south. Would not be surprised if the radar is under or overproducing the snow. It's probably a bit more of rain in those locations. But notice, right, this is what it looked like as of 1 p.m. A lot of snow, Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, into Boston, New Hampshire, Vermont. And look at that. This was some very heavy precipitation. We did have a little bit of a thunderstorm line. I do not know how it looked earlier on in the event. I'm assuming it was pretty strong, or stronger than here. As you can see, it was weakening. Definitely some gusty winds with that. Definitely good soaking for the DC area, portions of New York, Long Island. But look, that snow definitely came down. Western Massachusetts got several hours of good snow before it kind of started eating away, and you can see a lot of that transitioned over to some rain. And then notice Maine right now is getting slammed right now by that heavy snow, and it's definitely seeing good amounts, probably especially further just north of Augusta, as it's been snowing there for a few hours, and you can see that it will still be snowing for a few more. Though it's, it will be a quick mover and it is gradually moving away. But look at that, some pretty heavy snow right there. I do want to say there's a cluster of snow, convective snow showers. Yesterday I mentioned it in my video that it's possible, and you can see that it started off as rain way up into North Dakota. It was pretty warm up there today. And notice that this is actually associated with a low pressure that is way further to the north, and these showers are across Canada as well. And look at that. It evolved into a pretty nasty band of showers, and that could really snow showers. So if you live across these areas, that could accumulate a quick 1 to 3 inches For sure. We've seen these little events notoriously underperform or overperform, and sometimes it could drop up to 8 inches in some location. I wouldn't say it's with this one. I don't see any traits of that, but it is definitely dropping some pretty heavy snowfall rates. And then look across the west and northwest, we have our next system moving in, which is our next focus of our attention, the National Weather Service. Look at that. We do have advisories for the system right now across the northeast. Let's just take a quick glance and see what they're showing for, say, a random place that I clicked on. And 1 to 3 inches, again, I'm assuming you probably got around 1 to 2 already, so a total of 5. They do have a special weather statement, and that's for the band of showers that's approaching. You can see will produce scattered snow and rain showers during the evening to early morning hours. Snow accumulations should be rather late. Again, that's right by Green Bay. But further up here, I would not be surprised to see some reports of some, 1 to potentially 4 inches of snow, maybe closer towards the Rhinelander. But notice that we do have winter weather advisories, a very thin strip of counties, and that is to do with another disturbance that will be coming across tomorrow. So today was pretty warm across these locations. Notice they did mention that, right? Much warmer today, at least comparatively to what they've been having. Many locations got above freezing. And look at that. Not bad amounts of snow. While it isn't a significant event, it's definitely something you'll have to snow shovel or snow plow. It's going to lie just north of Minneapolis, for the folks that are wondering. Duluth, though, 3 to 4, maybe the heaviest just to the south. It's a rather thin strip. Hayward, 4 to 6, and kind of peeking out across northern Minnesota. If you were to take a look at the National Weather Service and how much snow thinks will fall, look, very heavy amounts across Idaho, Montana, Washington. I mean, quite some ridiculous amounts, approaching a foot, 15 inches, 16 inches. Definitely quite a bit of snow. And then look at that. Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, the UP, pretty good amounts again, and a little small area of 6 inches plus. I would not be surprised to see these systems overproduce. These spring systems either underproduce or overproduce. And when they're, when they're moisture saturated, the temperatures are right, it's really, really not hard for them to overproduce. And look at that, as we push this forward, we see a lot of the UP, almost 100% of the Upper Peninsula get around 4 to 6 inches, right? Notice northern Michigan as well. And in the future, more snow across the mountains, but rather snow-free. And I'll show you why, okay? So, and for the folks that are wondering, okay, so that's our first snowstorm, right? This was kind of our first one, if you will, but that's mainly out. We do have the little showers. This is it right there. You can see there's a little snow system that produced that little, or will produce that snow across that thin advisory area that the National Weather Service issued. Let's take it back here, right there. And a lot of locations across North Dakota haven't seen a lot of snow this year, so they definitely will take that. It's pretty narrow and it's not significant, but I think you will be getting more as we get into the future. So there's our little system. I do want to say it does get pretty gnarly as it gets into southern Canada. Notice, for my southern Canadian viewers, Toronto, for example, you stay as mainly rain, but as you get towards Ottawa, Montreal, you may start seeing some more snowfall. And look, once you get into Quebec, you can get some pretty good amounts of snow out of that. So definitely something to watch for. Also, the winds will be pretty strong, so I do want to mention that. And this area of showers and storms, it will be very warm. And there's a lot of dynamics right under that cold front. So some gusty thunderstorms, thunder showers are possible. I would not say, anything severe, but if you live across the Mid-Atlantic, New York, New Jersey, on Wednesday into Thursday, be prepared, as it will be very warm for late February, and also just I shouldn't say be prepared, just don't get caught off guard by some rain showers. Okay, notice that as we push this through, another little band of convective showers, right? More snow across the northwest. Look at that. The northwest continues to get hammered. They have been getting most of the winter. The snowpack amounts are pretty high up there. Notice we have a clipper, right? And then we have a southern piece. These two don't really phase according to the GFS. Some models do phase these together. Up until it reaches the northeast, a little bit of snow and rain occur. But look, we have a lot of precipitation from the south. Very warm southern United States. The southeast will be quite hot, to be frank. And notice that we have a clipper combines with that southern energy. Again, the GFS isn't too excited about phasing these two together. But let me tell you, some models develop a really large system out of this, something to watch for. So this is kind of our second system, but it could be our third if this one amounts to something a bit more of significance. So this is kind of our third system, right? Notice lots of rain and potentially flooding if across the south, especially where the grounds have just been thawed out after that polar vortex outbreak. And notice not bad across the northeast, some snow. some rain, and quite a bit of snow into potentially southern Canada, and lots of wind, a ton of wind. Really strong high pressure, pretty strong low pressure. That could be pretty bad and would spawn some lake effect. But look at that. I mean, that evolves into a monster across Maine and the northeastern U.S. and southeastern Canada. Okay, notice that right after that, we see more rain across the south, a bit more snow mixing in as we do see a bit more cold air. Again, the GFS does keep things active, and look, it does keeps things active. And look at that, we see our classic spring, the kind of springtime, late winter storm setup. It's a favorite of the North American continent during this time of the year. And notice, right, we have our cold front right here associated with the most strong, powerful thunderstorms, usually within a storm system. Notice we do have a warm front, warm advection out ahead of this, pumping a lot of warm air up. And then look, a bit of a snow side to this as well, right? So this is just one model, but definitely a very, very nice system. And I shouldn't say nice, as this could have some pretty bad severe weather, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And it is far out. I'm just saying that, you know, these systems occur every year, and this year will be no different. And you can see a lot of rain and potentially snowy side to it, and another system that is absolutely wind whipped, huge cold front and massive warm front that is almost completely vertically placed instead of more of a horizontal axis. And look at that, it just slides to the north. So, you know, in terms of activity, it's definitely not going to be boring. In terms of awesome looking storm systems, in terms of satellite and just actual thunderstorms, you know, it will be also exciting. So GFS 384-hour outlook in terms of snow, you know, it may look a bit boring, but to be honest, it's a lot of these events like tomorrow, for example, the one across the northern plains, that could overperform that look pretty small on this, right? And you can see that there are indications of some larger events. The GFS does hint at some pretty hefty amounts, not even across the northeast, but also across the plains. And just to let you know, I don't know, I've heard of this fact quite a while ago. Denver sees its snowiest month during March. March is its snowiest month. It's not February, it's not January, and it makes sense. A lot of these systems take a track where it puts Denver and Colorado and Wyoming in favorable locations for very heavy snow. And we can't forget about that super cyclone of 2018, the bomb cyclogenesis. I did make a few videos on that. I remember it was just a magnificent storm. I mean, it brought so much snow in some locations. The pressure, I think, was the lowest pressure ever recorded at Denver. Or in the state. It was a massive system. And that was, you know, late March, early April time frame. And we can't forget about the snowstorm that dropped its heaviest snow across Green Bay. Dropped them 28 inches in April of 2018. I think it's 2018. It might have been 2017. Just an absolute monster. Okay, let's take a look at the European and see what it shows in terms of total snowfall. Not 15 days out, but more like 10 or 11. And notice that it does show snow, especially towards the north, across the northern plains and into southern Canada. You can see Toronto picking up 4 to 5 inches, Montreal, Ottawa within that half a foot to a foot, and in Quebec around 18 inches. And then here, probably higher amounts as it will be much colder, and this is assuming a 10 to 1, but it doesn't have a Kuchera. The European on here. Okay, let's take a look at its surface and precip. So here's our little system tomorrow. The European keeps it pretty weak. Not gonna lie, I think that's a bit of an underestimate. As he pushes forward, here's our energy in the south. That could be our second system. The first one that the GFS kind of keeps separate. Remember, the European does show a bit of more interaction. A band of very heavy snow moving through the northeast. The very heavy rain showers, the thunderstorms continue across the south. Shouldn't really be a severe weather threat. It's going to be more of a rain threat. But notice, right, we have a lot of energies. Clippers from the north colliding with many systems from the south. And look at that. This thing, we once again, like the GFS showed, the European agrees with it. It shows a wind-whipped cyclone across the northeast, which would be just absolutely massive in terms of the winds. Snow, maybe not so much for the U.S., more so for Canada and Atlantic Canada, the Maritimes. But my goodness, that would definitely bring impacts all the way down to, say, even the Outer Banks with the heavy winds. And look at that. We send another low pressure up right behind that. Classic cold front, warm front, snow out ahead of it. And that obviously brings quite a bit of snow to the north and rain where the rain falls. And then another one starts developing. So European, I would say keeps it even more active. GFS version 16, the GFS model that I absolutely adore. I love it. I wouldn't say I prefer it over the European, but it's definitely on the same slide. And look, you see that's our little system. Tomorrow, southern Canada, you can get quite a good dose of that, so don't get caught off guard. Again, a little bit of rain across the northeast. Notice we start seeing these little smaller disturbances continue, and look at that. We see a pretty strong cold front to the north. That's out ahead of a polar vortex side. It doesn't really make its way to the south, but will bring very cold conditions to much of southern Canada. So for my viewers further across Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, be prepared for some drastic temperature changes. And look, the GFS parallel does combine these systems a bit better than the GFS, not as much as a European though, and it takes that one off. But again, this is the more significant one, which the European and the operational one developed into a large system. The parallel does a similar structure, but it's much weaker. The snow isn't as developed. The winds are still howling and would be very strong, just not as extreme as the other two, which, you know, we're just absolutely off the charts extreme. So notice that's our snow, that's our rain, and then look right behind that, we see more snow, a bit more oriented to the south, lots of heavy rain, a bit of ice across the Appalachian, and look at that, maybe it's some more snow further south across the northeast, potentially nor'easter. We do have a bit of chilly air mixing in with some warmer air. Notice that as he pushes forward, more systems. I mean, again, active pattern for sure. You know, you see these systems. They're definitely different characteristics than the ones we've been seeing during the winter. They're definitely unique. I mean, you can see this one just kind of spins itself, and that's a characteristic of a warming trend, which at this point would be 10 days into meteorological spring, 10 days or 11 days from astronomical spring, which is the 21st. And there is a difference. So this is what it puts out in the next 10 days. Doesn't look like a lot, you know. I mean, it's not February amounts of snow, but it's definitely still active, and I still think that this is a bit underdone, and this is just through around 10 days. Notice that if we were to focus on Wisconsin, UP, you know, Green Bay could, according to this model, get over 10 inches. Minneapolis, around 2 to 4. And again, this could shift quite a bit. I know this video is getting a bit long. I do want to quickly show you what the Canadian model thinks. Again, this model has done a very, very good job in the last few snowstorms in the last few years, honestly. Notice with tomorrow's system, it does get pretty aggressive, so definitely something to watch for if, you know, a more aggressive scenario unfolds. Notice that through the next 10 days, it does show snow across the Midwest, pretty good amounts, a lot of snow across southern Canada, especially where it borders Maine and New Hampshire. Decent amounts into Quebec as well. Many locations over 20, 16 inches, and look at that up here, not bad as well. Again, with the Kuchera, it's a more accurate presentation, and again, snow across the Midwest falling as well, not really to the south anymore. Regarding tomorrow's system, I know that some folks would want me to time this out. Let's take a look at it. I do realize this video is getting long, but okay, so this is the RAP, a very good model, and hour by hour. So this is 6 p.m. today, Central Standard Time. So adjust your hours based on that. This is now 7, 8, 9, there we go, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So notice that little system of showers right now pushes into Michigan. The big one on the northeast pushes out, and we start seeing the formulation of that one, and this is at around midnight. Now, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Notice some light snow across the northeast, mid-Atlantic area, and some light snow developing across the Dakotas. All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can see a nice progression of the system. Again, the RAP model, showing it probably a bit weaker and a bit less expansive than it actually will be. All right, so this is now at around 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. A bit of rain mixing in. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is now 12 o'clock at midnight, and you can see that just continues forward and reaching the Canadian cities, or most of Canada, by, I would say, Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and then it's pretty much out of there by 6 o'clock in the afternoon. In terms of total snowfall, Kuchera, again, this is what it shows. I think it will be a bit more broad, but some of those amounts probably aren't overdone. 8 inches, I would not be surprised to see that. Overall, though, you know, a 4 to 6 inch event. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing, consider liking. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.